Hello, my name is Erin Smith. I'm an associate marriage and family therapist in the state of California. And as always, I am here to do a week ahead reading to ask for insight or guidance around what would be most helpful for us to know, understand, or do in order to align with our highest good under the current conditions that we find ourselves in, personally and collectively. There's a lot going on in the world. So, this is my offering to us all to try to help us focus our attention in ways that might be helpful. And let's see what themes emerge. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to go silent. I'm going to concentrate while I shuffle. I'll be with you momentarily. I'm just going to say a prayer over these cards. Mhm. Mhm. So it's kind of an interesting answer, and there's both a strong emphasis being placed on taking a new kind of action based on kind of a higher vision for our own lives. And in order to do that, we need to be aware of the old ideas, the limiting self-beliefs, the entrenched view that we've been carrying with us, and how we can begin to let that go in order to vision a new way of being in the world. So there again, there's this really strong emphasis on tapping into the highest possible vision for our lives. in regards to the way that we meet our needs materially in the world. I mean, pentacles are often associated with money and career, the work that we do in the world. But, as human beings, that is really even just one expression of how it is that we get our needs met, right? Typically we go to work in order to earn money to feed ourselves, to put a roof over our heads. That there are certain basic tangible needs that we as human beings have that have to be met in order for us to be taken care of. And so what does this look like? I mean, so the aces are like the highest octave of an energy. It's like getting a divine download from the universe. So the Ace of Pentacles is sort of like the ideal version of what it looks like in order for us to get our needs met. And it's easy to think along the lines of the way things maybe have been in our families, in our culture, for an extended period of time. It could look like something like uh, going to school, getting a degree, getting hired on at a position, and working for an extended period of time so that you have benefits and a pension, and that's how you're going to be taken care of. That's how you're going to meet your needs. And I'm not saying that that's the wrong way to do things. It's one way of doing things that I think has been sort of instilled in our minds, right? Like you work one job and you put in the hours and that you're rewarded for your loyalty. And I think that over the course of the last 10, 15 years, that model of what it looks like to work and earn a living and get your needs met has really dramatically changed. Most people don't stay working at one company for the rest of their lives. Most people do many things over the course of their life in order to take care of their needs. And again, right now, at this moment in time, we're having to even reconsider what that looks like. Many people are having to take multiple jobs, and they're still barely able to make enough money in order to pay for basic living expenses like housing, food, the cost of transportation. So this vision that we have or we have had or held collectively for a long time about what it takes to get our needs met in the world, it's changing and shifting. I mean, in dramatic ways right before our very eyes. Um, and so what is a higher vision that we might open up to, that we might receive from source that actually looks different than any of these ways that we've been doing things? And I'm not suggesting that I have an answer to this. What I'm suggesting is that we're being called to stay with the question, to meditate on this idea, like, what might it look like if we were all, every human being on the planet, able to get their needs met in an easy, effortless way? That there wasn't this falsified scarcity in order to cull money at the top. If there wasn't a few people who were doing extraordinarily well at the expense of everyone else's exploited labor. What if there was this beautiful circulation of wealth and well-being and everybody had what they needed, and that we could live in communion with nature and that nature's bounty provides and that there's this reciprocity that we take care of the land and the land takes care of us. Again, I'm just imagining, I am allowing my mind to imagine an ideal state of being. And I think there's something to this. I think that there's something to holding a vision in our mind to move towards, even if we don't have any idea how to manifest that or to facilitate that as coming into being in practical ways. That simply holding a vision that things could look very different from what they actually look like right now can be helpful, specifically when old systems are being torn down. If we don't have a vision, a guiding vision that is beneficial for all, then we run the risk of simply, having some insufficient or cruel system brought into place as soon as the old one falls. And again, we're this idea of like really being able to hold a vision of action that is life affirming. That you can, this is how you can think of wand energy. Wands relate to passion and creativity and life force. And again, we're dealing with aces, this very distilled high octave of energy that is life affirming, that is electric, that motivates us to take action in the world in order to bring about a greater, more egalitarian, beneficial society for all. And so again, some of what we're being called to do is analyze or take a look at the way that we think about ourselves and society at large. That's what swords represent. Swords are thoughts, ideas, communication. And the Five of Swords is no ground gained or lost. It's a stalemate. It is getting stuck in this one way of thinking, this very narrow perspective on what is possible, and not being able to see any way out, not being able to see any other alternatives to the contrary. It is like a well-worn neurological groove that keeps you stuck in a habit of placating, people pleasing. That is what the Seven of Swords represents. What are we doing to comply with perpetuating the world as it is going and has always been, right? Like, where are we acquiescing to the state of the world that is clearly insufficient because we can't see an alternative? We can't see any other way out. So we just keep showing up in order to go along with what we're told is the only way for it to be. Well, the Six of Swords is asking us to let go of the past. The Six of Swords is leaving the past behind, moving away from troubled waters and going towards a calmer shore. What I like about the Six of Swords in this regard, it's not in a hurry, it's not panicked, it's not in a frenzy. It is a very simple recognition that the way that we've been doing things is no longer serving us. And that if we are allowing ourselves to be guided by an ideal vision of what is possible for us as a collective whole, that we can move towards that vision at a very steady pace. There's something very calming to the Six of Swords, that this idea that so long as we stop complying with the old way and trust that there is some new way of doing things that looks different than the way been done before, that we can move with the steady flow of the current to begin to bring that into being. And again, there's a kind of simplicity to this. It's easy to look at what's going on in the world and to become overwhelmed. Believe me, it's been happening to me personally. We're flooded with this sense of urgency, and that is being, motivated by a lot of fear of instability, fear of cruelty, fear of people not getting their needs met, and, being, the like worst case scenario. It's understandable that that would be our fear in this moment. But here's what I know from psychology is that when we are feeling flooded in this way, when we are overwhelmed by that intensity of emotion, it is impossible to act to good purpose. That it is only once we've come back into a state of regulation that we are able to sort of wisely take action. And that action is always measured, right? You can't do everything all at once. You have to do the next right indicated thing, and that has a cumulative effect, right? So the Six of Pentacles is giving from the overflow. It's saying we can afford to be generous with our time and our energy and our resources when our coffers are full. And I think very much along the lines of kind of getting back to basics. A recovery phrase comes to mind, which is you cannot transmit what you haven't got. If you yourself are not tending to your own basic needs, it's very hard to extend your hand of help to another. So it's like kind of like basic self-care is what we're talking about here. It's essential. This is an essential. It's not selfish to tend to your needs in a good way so that then you actually have some energy to devote to others, to help make phone calls to your senators or help join the resistance movement to deportations or whatever it is that you feel you need to do in order not to acquiesce to the insanity that we see going on around us. It starts with taking care of ourselves, which is really basic. It's like when you're tired, you rest. When you're hungry, you feed yourself nourishing food. When you're feeling lonely and despairing, you connect with trusted friends and family. You make sure that you're tending to your needs. And then there's that revitalization that happens when you suddenly have the energy then to take right action out in the world. Again, what I'm going to suggest is that it is easy to become overwhelmed. It is easy to look at the things that are going on around us and have it shake our sense of confidence in the world, in ourselves to make it through. The Nine of Wands is the self-confidence card. And it's an acknowledgement. We've been knocked around in the battle of life. That things haven't been easy, and that we're feeling it. We're feeling this state of uncertainty. And yet, what the Nine of Wands wants us to know is that we've come through our battles well. We've been in times in the past of, of equal or different times of adversity. And that every time we've gone through this in our history, there were ways that we came through it. There were things that we learned about how to persevere, how to recreate society in ways that were better, and that we would do well to concentrate on that. Like, let's look at history and see how did we get out of you know times when fascism looked like it was going to take over the entire world. What did people do both on a large scale and a personal scale in order to ensure that that didn't happen? And to take stock of our skills, the skills that we possess, that we've acquired as a result of going through adversity, and utilizing it, right? Utilizing those skills. Each one of us possesses some great skill set that we've acquired as a result of having, come through hardship. And so, again, it's really easy to become despairing and look at what's going on in the world and feel defeated. And yet, we are armed with tools to make things better, to make things happen. And so I think the final piece here is to cultivate this childlike quality of curiosity and wonder. How might things be different? Pages represent new beginnings, new opportunities, new people, new ways of doing things in the world, a new perspective about what might be possible. This is a kind of archetypal childlike innocence that hasn't been so wounded by life yet that they are in a state of learned helplessness, right? That everything is new and they are exploring those possibilities with open curiosity, and they're willing to try things out to see how it might have an effect, a positive effect on the outcome of things. There's a kind of open-mindedness, even a lucky effervescence that comes along with page energy. They don't know they can fail, and so they don't. And we're being called to connect with this as much as possible in the face of all this adversity, so that we can begin to hold a new vision for our lives and the lives of people we love. And actually, the lives of, for me, every living being on the planet. How can we vision a world that serves us all and not just a few? That's my vision. And then be willing to let go of limiting self-beliefs, right? Because, I don't know, we don't see good examples of how it's been done in the past. Be willing to let go of those old ideas and move in small and steady ways towards this new vision and see how things unfold. So that's what I've got for us all this week. I'm going to use this opportunity to send everyone everywhere love and blessings. May you all be well. May you all be happy. May you all be safe. Take care.